Oh, there you are, ghoulies. And here we are in the middle of the Snow Queen, the middle of the 12th anniversary show. And, well, who just stopped by to give us some Christmas cheer? But Adolfo Dorta. Did I say that right?
You sure did.
I better say it right. And, of course, you are the head honcho at Days of the Dead.
You know what?
Oh, you lost your microphone.
Yeah.
All right, we got a second here. We know.
Sorry.
How that goes. That's okay. Everyone's excited.
There
when
we
they're
go.
on
There
Crimson
we go.
Theater.
Perfect.
All right. But, yeah, you're the founder?
Co-founder. It's one of the three. I believe Rick's been on the show. He's another
Right.
one, and our friend Bill Philpott out in LA with Re-Evolution Management. The three of us kind of, we're the triad that makes Days of the Dead happen.
And then, well, that's got to be an incredible amount of work.
Definitely.
Considering getting all these celebrities, securing the hotel, and all that pre-advanced stuff that you were doing, and then perfectly pulled off, by the way, the one I was at in Chicago.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you think so.
I think. Do you think the the typhoon hurt Sunday a little? Probably.
Yeah. The tornadoes and all that definitely hurt Sunday a little bit, but nevertheless, the people that were there, you get a lot of the regulars that stay there for the weekend. They know the party's nonstop. By Sunday, everybody's shuffling out like The Walking Dead anyway. So, it sort of just ushered it along a little more quickly than we had anticipated. But still very successful show. Chicago always treats us well, and it was a blast.
Oh, it was a blast for me not to have to drive like 6 hours home after it's done too. But no, I had a great time there. Well, now what first attracted you to the horror genre?
I've kind of just been like a lifelong, monster kid with, being brought up with it. My dad was a big horror fan, and then, growing up in the early 80s and the sort of the era of the big box VHS stores and sneaking off to the bad section when your mom was there and looking at all the, and by bad section, I mean the horror section,
horror
not,
stuff,
But, and being just amazed by all the awesome cover art that, they had back in the 80s and all the really sort of salacious and wild kind of movie options that there were. And, your dad will kind of pick some up for you to watch on the side and not tell mom, or you'd stay up till late to watch the midnight movie, watch, Night of the Living Dead or whatever, when your parents thought you were asleep. And that's just kind of how it happened.
Oh, yeah, I think it's very similar to like the whole 60s youth monster culture. It's just different monsters.
Right.
And you're talking about some of the same elements, liking the artwork. And I always thought like the artwork for the old Aurora monster kits, that was something that really drew me in. Sometimes I think I like the artwork better than the kit sometimes in some cases, but it's just
that could be said for the movies from the 80s
That could be said for a lot of the movies. It's just interesting. As a matter of fact, I did a radio piece with Butch Patrick today.
Oh, cool.
So we were talking about, kind of that same subject. He's planning on doing a traveling haunted house in train boxcars.
Wow.
I mean, that's what he was telling. Then I had to explain to him about the haunted bus and like, well, if you do that, you've got a lot to learn because you can't just bolt stuff in and think, oh, it's permanent.
Yeah.
No, those things will dance around in there on their own. They'll break free. So you got to set it up when you get there. But so now you have Days of the Dead. You have what, a 4-year in different cities.
Right. We have one in. We just had one in Chicago. We got one coming up in Atlanta in February. We'll be doing Indianapolis in late June, and then Los Angeles in September, and back again to Chicago November next year.
Indianapolis sounds cool. Where do you do that one?
We do that at the Wyndham Indianapolis West, right off the airport.
Okay.
It's a great space. It's one of our favorites out of the 4 hotels we work in, and by now, we're going into our 4th year, so they're kind of used to us. Right. We've broken them in real well, and they know what to expect. So. It's a great time. It's
cool
a big
down
party.
there. Indianapolis is cool.
It's great.
I found that whole like Ohio. I mean, Ohio's like the horror host capital of the world.
Definitely.
But, just how amazing that was. Now, if you go, what's Atlanta? Now, Atlanta's got to be kind of.
You know what? Atlanta it's great because they have like this really, from what we discovered, this really weird kind of alternative horror freak culture going on that's never really been tapped, and it's so like Atlanta's really repressed, and it's like that sort of that Catholic schoolgirl that just got unleashed into the college world, and now and they absolutely love it. It's a great city. It's definitely one of the weirder after parties scenes that we have, and having been to Chicago, that's saying a lot. But they're fantastic. I mean, you got a lot of people that do stuff like they run their own weekly, horror cinema things in various clubs, various bars. I mean, they try to do it wherever they can. There's all sorts of independently run haunted houses like we have up here in the Midwest. But there's never really been a convention focus to that. So when we came in, they were already ready for us.
Well, there's just so many fans. I mean, maybe right now that's really being fueled by The Walking Dead, which maybe stole a little bit of fire from the whole Rob Zombie's empire, which is that's a whole nother interesting culture. But it's just the way the horror movies have changed so much now. How about Godzilla? There's the trailer out for the new Godzilla film. What are you thinking?
I'm excited for it. But you know what though? I'm always I'm kind of the opposite of what most people, their reaction when they see a new remake. Like I always want it to be good. Mm-hmm. But before I just absolutely bash it, I always want it to be awesome because I think, back in the '80s with my monsters were like the Freddys and Jasons and all that. And it was always cool to have another one coming out. And even though every subsequent sequel was worse than the one before it, but you always had that excitement of like, oh, we're going to see Jason come out and kill again. Well, with Godzilla, I'm stoked. I'd love to see a new Godzilla movie where, he doesn't lay eggs in Madison Square Garden.
Well, thank you. That was rejected by any Godzilla.
Yeah.
I don't even know what they were thinking. So when they started, this one out, now like the trailer came, and I thought, from what I saw of the trailer, they might be getting into the darker side of the original,
right.
Which is, if you see the original without Raymond Burr in it, have you ever seen just the straight up?
Yeah.
It's a much darker film.
Right. It seems to have that somber tone, and I really hope that, I really think that the director who, his previous movie, the name of the previous movie that he did escapes me, but it's kind of along the same lines, and it was fantastic. I think he could do it justice, and I really hope he does because I want to be in that theater once again, getting excited for
right.
For the
I
big
want
guy.
that. I think that a lot of the bad films just hurt the genre, so I'm pulling for it to be. I want that one to be really good, and they seems like they got the weight of the subject, and some of the other stuff it almost sounded like Raymond Burr, and just like the disaster that it would be if this thing was actually really out there. So of course I'm hoping it'll be really, really cool, and they'll just get really into.
And hopefully we see more. Hopefully it's successful. Hopefully people go out and support it, and it's good, and we'll see.
Well,
more
can you imagine what that will do for the franchise? Because Toho's got like at least 40 Godzilla movies ready to go.
Right.
They're already done. They might again make their own.
And I'll be happy to see all of them.
But now, see, a lot of people I talk to that watch the show, and they're watching some of the ones that I show, which are the really old ones. That's all we can do. But they don't know about from '89 right through 2000 that they kept making those movies, and some of the best. And Destroyer, where he's melting down.
Right.
That had to be the peak. I don't know if they can top that. That was the peak.
Well, if they could even give us something half as good, I'd honestly eat it up. I'm just such a sucker for that kind of material that I'd eat it.
It seems like we didn't get a lot this year. I mean, I finally got to catch up to Lords of Salem, but it never played in this area, so.
Oh. Sorry about that.
Was that you?
Yeah, that's me.
Well, at least in the modern times, it's just a cell phone, because otherwise we'd be talking about something else.
Right.
All right. Anyway, now, you.
There it goes.
There we go. That's an important call.
Hardly.
That was the directors of Godzilla. They were going to.
Oh, it could. You know what? Maybe we should.
They're trying to hook up. Mental telepathy. Now, how far would you like to expand Days of the Dead? I mean, what are the things that you'd like to do with it in the future?
I think we've gone as far as we're able to go in terms of how many shows we do, simply because all of us have day jobs, all of us have families. So, I mean, even, when we did the first one, it was kind of like, wow, how are we going to really fit this into our schedules? And then we did the second one. And then we did the third, and by the fourth, Rick was like, I can't, no, sorry.
I would think 4 is probably about manageable.
Yeah, 4 was, well, the selling point for the 4th was that it was in his hometown of Chicago. So, you kind of, we had done 3, 1 in our backyard is you can make room for that. But, I'd like to, maybe if we were able to ever kind of do this for a living or dedicate more time to it, maybe do more things regionally where, in each of the cities that we do conventions, maybe we can do like a film series where we bring directors or writers or actors for lesser known films that may not be something that you would do at a convention due to the appeal that might not be there or whatever, but maybe just do different things, do things that are a little bit more outside the box on a local level, and just kind of promote the horror scene, within each city 365 days a year.
That's awesome. And you know the thing about it is I'm always surprised at like who's the popular one. And James Cameron was bringing down he was bringing down the cash.
I was happy to see that because
I was too.
You know the regulars like the Kane Hodder's and the Sid Haigs and the Bill Moseley, all great guys, all awesome. Really appeal to the more the modern horror fans. But you got a guy like James Cameron who's got so many credits to his name. I mean, from in every genre. And to see not only that there was a lot of people there for him for Return of the Living Dead, but also Poltergeist, some of his earlier work from the 50s and the 60s, and it's just the kind of stuff that guy was signing all weekend long was amazing, and it was really cool to see what an awesome reception he had.
Yeah, that was and I was amazed that the Return of the Living Dead was such a big deal when that came out. We seen zombies with mohawks and stuff. Right. And they were giving away some free tickets. You went there and you got a free ticket. We got the whole punk rock scene of Kenosha to show up with mohawks and see that film. And that's when the old Kino Core scene was really tight back in the 80s. So we got everybody to go there, and then lo and behold, this movie is it popular straight up on its own, or is it because of the popularity in zombie movies?
You know what? I'd like to think that it's popular on its own just because it's so different. It's a zombie. Not only is it a zombie movie, but it also combined, a very comedic side to it, to the point where it was, borderline silly at times. But I think that's the charm in it, and it also brings in the punk rock culture, which I think makes it different from most other zombie movies that may play it a little bit more straight. And this one, like you said, every single cast member is like a different, version of somebody within the punk rock scene. Where, you got the mod guy, you got the straight up hardcore gutter punk dude, and every other, sort of subgenre that goes from there. And great soundtrack, absolutely incredible soundtrack, and just all around, it's a great film.
It is a great film, and there was I have a policeman friend, and I told him, punk rockers and policemen have something in common. If you don't know, and they're, and you know what that is they both are portrayed as idiots in movies a lot of times. Yeah. The punk rocker, remember, there's the punk rocker with the boombox in the Star Trek movie, and then Spock gives them the pinch, and it's they make them all look like jerks. And the same, a lot of times with police, it's a stereotype,
right.
And just kind of interesting how that went off. You never know. I got all kinds of people watch the Crimson Theater, from Packer fans to police officers to, we got it's quite an audience because they all like those horror films, and I guess they like the, underlying anarchy perhaps in the show.
And I think that's kind of the beauty of the horror convention too, where, I got people that I may work with at the day job, or, your family asks you kind of like, what's it like? And, you if you've ever been to one, the crowd is I think the most entertaining part of it, because you got your stereotypical dressed in all black mall teenager, to the soccer mom that drives the minivan, to the guy that's an accountant by day but wears his Frankenstein costume, at night, and it's beautiful. It's a great thing.
I met a gentleman a few years back that works out at the farm, and he started buying paintings off me and stuff. Lo and behold, I found this guy, he's a hoarder. His whole basement's full of, he's telling me, because he won't let anybody in there, because literally there's just a little bit of an aisle you can get through. As a matter of fact, he had to get the water shut off so the plumbers could work on something. He paid the extra money for them to shut it off at the street because he didn't want to come in the house. He said, no, you can't. He's supposed to have like a 5-foot-tall Gamera figure,
wow.
Stuff like that. So, those people are out there, and like you said, it's so many different walks of life. You got your goth people or the people in costumes, but then you got a lot of people that if you passed them on the street, you wouldn't think, well,
Right.
And that's really the beauty of it. And I found the people that go to the horror conventions are, especially some of them might be looked at by people and people be afraid of them, but they're some of the most kind-hearted people ever.
Right.
Hey, I thought we had a director back there. What's going on? You never know on this show what's going on.
Playing it fast and loose.
Well, the history of horror-hosted shows is they're pretty
fast and loose.
Well, if you can do it quick, that's a good thing.
Capture that lightning in a bottle.
That's right. Are you going to stick with us for one more segment?
Sure, we'll do.
All right, Ghoulies, I know you're eager to get back into the exciting conclusion of the Snow Queen on Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater, and we're always having a good time. If you're not having a good time, you're not watching Crimson Theater. All right, Ghoulies, I hope you enjoyed that Christmas Eve Crimson Theater 12th anniversary. Like I said, we're starting the 13th season now. That sounds a bit foreboding, or maybe I should milk that out.
This is the lucky year.
I hope it is.
This is the year for you guys.
It could be. We'll see.
Today.
Huh?
We're foreshadowing for the 13th year today.
Yes. Yeah, it's been kind of a crazy day. I was supposed to have went into the radio station earlier, and sometimes you don't hook up with somebody, especially when they're in another country. Well, scheduled was Patricia Quinn from Rocky Horror,
wow,
and
nice.
but we didn't manage to, So I'm like, well, who can I got to call? Ivana Cadaver,
Yeah.
So I got a hold of her. I'm like, can you do the show? No, she can't. She's been a no for every time I ask her for a long time. But all of a sudden I get a text back for her. Oh, I just talked to Butch Patrick. He'll do it. So
Nice.
That's how I got Butch Patrick.
Nice.
So I had, which is equally iconic, I suppose.
I think so.
Oh, for sure. I mean, really, I look at someone like Butch as being sort of the last vestige of the original classic horror actors.
And he's such a nice guy too.
Yeah,
Such
he's
a
awesome.
nice guy.
They
guy.
aren't they all? A lot of these people have been so receptive, and they're doing their thing at the the conventions. If you try to approach them about interviews and stuff, when it's slower, they'll go along with it and whatnot. It's very cool. I didn't get too many at the other one because just let them have their space. And then it was very surreal because we left at 5 o'clock. We left the convention, and the wind must have been the just last few minutes of the main part of that horrible storm.
Yeah.
And you had like Bill Moseley and who's the bartender from The Shining?
Oh, Joe Turkel.
All these guys are like, what limo are they going to get in? And we're trying to get our stuff out of the front. The rain's coming down sideways, And then we got on the road for a few seconds, and it was fine.
Yeah.
It just was over. But during the day, I texted, Dave Fuentes, he's
Right.
one of the biggest Godzilla fans in the world. I had texted him. I said, I think Godzilla just came through here.
You would have thought, but we were in that tent where we were doing the Q&As, and by tent, I mean, I don't know if you saw it. It was sort of like an indoor kind of way to do wedding receptions, and it sounded like Godzilla might have been coming down on it just by the way it was shaking.
Right. And well, there is that big scene in the original Godzilla movie with the big typhoon coming in. And, so it's kind of interesting, but it just added a surreal edge. And then, of course, Kitty Zombie was down the hall from us. Kitty Zombie, he made it for his Kickstarter?
Yeah, he did actually. He did. It was very exciting. So we'll see a Kitty Zombie movie sometime next year. It was fantastic.
Well, as far as the movie goes, the Killing Pole guys did a good job with me in that. So I'm just trying to get something going for a good music project.
Oh, cool. Look forward to seeing it.
I've been doing that for longer than any of this. That's how it goes. You're gonna start up again, huh?
We'll see. We'll see. I'm just playing right now, just fiddling around.
That's all right. Nothing wrong with that. So once again, now how can horror fans find you on the internet and get in touch with like this fantastic convention circuit you're doing?
They can go to www.daysofthedead.net, and we'll have all 4 of our cities up on the site, and just click whichever one's closest to you and pay us a visit and come party with us.
Awesome. Sounds great. It was a good time. All right, Ghoulies, you can always get a hold of me at Dr. Dorian, one word, Destruction on Facebook. That's the only official way to get a hold of me. Okay, a lot of websites out there. I don't know what to do about them, but what are you going to do? So I'm going to tell my audience that's how you get a hold of me. Would you like to say Merry Christmas to Mom? All right, Ghoulies, you have a horrifying holiday season. We'll see you next year on Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater. Thanks for coming.